All right, yeah, so how would you tighten up your stop loss based on, right, distance or number of bars that have closed? All right, so let's go into the stop loss here. All right, so in the stop loss, let's go into the trailing actions. And again, we're going to enable the trailing actions. We'll add a trailing rule, right? So counting the number of bars that have closed or checking, a distance that the market has moved, those are triggering events, right? So after 6 bars, you're triggering something to happen, right? Or after the market has moved, certain distance, then you want to trigger your stop loss to move, So that's going to be these trigger events. And actually, both of those simple conditions are actually both contained within the interval trigger. Let me open this up a little bit. All right, so within the interval, we can see we can count bars. So we can say, okay, after 6 bars, do something, right? And the action is what does something. So also, you want to track a distance that the market has moved. Let's see, 8 ticks. All right, yeah, 8 ticks. So we can also enable the ticks of movement, right? And knock this down to 8 ticks there, right? So you can see there's lots of different ticks of movement there, right? So, ticks of movement in a loss direction, that probably wouldn't really apply to a stop loss. That's probably really more useful for something like a entry order or maybe a profit target, right? So maybe if the market moves backwards, so a certain distance, and obviously it doesn't hit your stop loss yet, but maybe if the market moves backwards and gets close to your stop loss, then you might want to pull your profit target in, right? So you could use ticks of movement in a loss direction, to trigger some kind of event, again, such as pulling your profit target in a little tighter, or pulling your entry order in, whatever. So, right, so there's lots of different movements, that you can track, but essentially those are the two that you're looking for there. And then you have to decide, okay, I have 2 conditions, so what's the priority here, right? So the default is after the shortest interval, right? So if the 8 ticks of movement happens first, then bingo, the trigger, this trigger is fired off, or if the 6 bars, it goes by first, whichever one of these is first, right? But obviously there's different modes here. You can say, okay, wait for the longest, right? So you need 8 ticks and 6 bars to go by, so whichever one occurs last. So, all right, let's put it back on the shortest. There we go. And then, so I guess, actually, hold on. On says if it has not moved 8 ticks in the desired direction. Okay, not moved 8 ticks. All right, let's see here. So yeah, trying to think if it's within the longest or within the shortest. Yeah, admittedly, the terminology used here is definitely very technical. Let's see. All right, so I'm just going to try with within the shortest. I'm not. And what we'll do is we'll move this to break even. We'll move that stop loss to break even. Let's see. Yep. There we go. And I need a bar type to actually facilitate that. Let's see. Okay, so all right, let's turn that off. And actually, no, sorry. I will need that on for a moment. Oh, no, actually, I have all this tick data. Okay, so let's turn that off and let's switch to, yeah, better switch to a 4 range chart there. All right, let's go to the simulated data feed. There. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here. So I actually I'm going to switch this over to a market. There we go. So I can just get filled right away. And let's get rid of that profit target. And all right, I'll push that stop loss out a little bit further. There. Okay. And let's see. All right, let's go long. Oop. What did I do? Okay, yeah, so it's not within shortest. Oh, okay. Let me try this approach. All right. Okay, so for the interval, I'm just going to use the bar counting, right? And I'm on the advanced tab here. So with the advanced tab, I can actually add another trigger. So I can combine multiple trigger conditions together. So let's see here. So I'm going to use the profit or loss this time. And let's see. All right. Yeah. So either, I guess, I'm not sure if you're looking for 8 ticks in profit. It just says moved 8 ticks. Oh, in the desired direction. Okay. So yeah, that'd be 8 ticks of profit. And put the units on ticks. And we're going to use the maximum amount. Set that to 8. Right? So we have 6 bars and then profit or loss, a maximum of 8 ticks. And now, let's see. So now is the mode. Figure out which mode do we want. Yeah, so I think simultaneously is the one we're going to want here. All right, yeah, let's give that a shot. Actually, just so we don't have to wait so long, I'm actually going to knock this down to just 4 bars. So. All right, and that was filled instantly as well. Let's see, minus 15. Oh, yeah. So on the interval, I didn't put the trigger back to after. So I want to use after, one of the after. I'm only using one condition here, or one setting, so it doesn't matter if it's after shortest interval or after longest. It doesn't matter, but I need to use the after trigger there. There we go. All right, because if you notice, as soon as I hit the go long, boom, this trailing action kicked in immediately. All right, and that's because both were true. So before I had within, so it was within 4 bars, and also, we didn't have at least 8 ticks of profit. So both of those were true, right? So there we go. So when the trade first opens, obviously this 8 ticks of profit, this maximum of 8 ticks of profit, this is going to be true immediately, right? And it's going to stay true until the market actually makes 8 ticks of profit. So this is true immediately as soon as the trade is open. So the one condition that isn't true yet, right, is the bars. So 4 bars has not gone by yet. So this interval is the one that's keeping these triggers from moving the stop loss to break even. So, all right, let's go long again. There we go. And there we have it. So it moved to break even, and of course that closed out the trade. So, all right, let's try that one more time. All right, I think this is the last bar here. And then that stop loss is going to move up to break even, I think. Yep, there we go. All right, there we go. Now we got it figured out. All right, so we combined 2 triggers here. All right, so we had the interval, which is counting, the number of bars, you want to go buy. All right, so you can knock that up to 6. 6 bars. And then we're using the profit or loss. Now, normally, most people are saying, you know what, I need a minimum of, whatever, 10 ticks of profit, and then move my stop loss. All right, so most people are looking for a minimum amount of profit and then move your stop loss to break even. All right, so this one's a little backwards, where we're actually saying, hey, I'm actually looking for, a maximum profit to have occurred, within, a maximum amount of profit. So 8 ticks in this place. Right. So you could even further constrain this, so you could say, okay, if the market has not moved profitably 8 ticks or in a loss 8 ticks, so you could actually see, use either profit or loss, right? So if the market has not moved up 8 ticks or down 8 ticks, then this condition would be true, right? And so if the market moved outside of this 8 tick range, then this profit or loss would never become true, and so therefore the stop loss would never move, or could never move. So let's see. All right, so Han actually wants both directions. Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying earlier, there we go. We could put it in either profit or loss. So all right, so that satisfies that part of the question. All right, so looks like this has answered Han's question. Let's see. Yeah, all right, yeah, so Hans makes the comment here that the max amount would not be intuitive versus the min amount. Yeah, and agreed. It obviously we can't write, an entire paragraph to explain these. So, coming up with some kind of short, sweet naming convention, that's probably the hardest part when you're making an interface. So remember, you can always go to the documentation, right? The documentation has a full explanation of these ambiguous, terms, right? So remember, you can always go to documentation. All right, so there we go. We're on the introduction page. So, what we're talking about is a stop loss, which is a part of the order set section here, right? So if you look under the BlackBird menu here, right there's the order sets. So we go to that page, and if we scroll down, right, so here's the trailing actions tab section of the menu, right? Trailing actions menu there. Right, so what we were discussing were the trigger, right? That trigger column. Yeah, it's not a great image, but yeah, we were talking about the trigger column here. So again, let's pull this up. Whoop. Yeah, right. So trigger on, right? This column here. So that's what we're talking about. So basically, this is just kind of a summary there of the various parts, right? The basic tab, the advanced tab. And if we keep scrolling down, there you go, trigger conditions. So here's the full-blown detailed explanation of all the different triggers, right? So you can use bloodhound triggers to trigger things, right? We just talked about the interval there, right? So with the interval, we were using the bar option there. And if we keep going down, there you go, profit or loss, and here's the min max amount. So yeah, so there's a actual explanation there. Hans says, yeah, Jeremy and team has thought of everything. Well, we're getting there. So yeah, we still have a lot on our to-do list to get implemented into BlackBird. Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, 2024 is supposed to be the year where Jeremy focuses on adding or wrapping up all these kind of further enhancements that were started, but got shelved, sidetracked, put up on the shelf while Bloodhound version 2 got rolled out. So hopefully, so this year there should be a lot more new enhancements added to BlackBird.